Hi everyone, my name's Dale and this is I was going to say my lovely assistant, but she's not my assistant. And actually she might be on that side. It depends where you're looking on
Oh,
the
you're
screen.
up here. You're up here.
No, you're over there. So my lovely partner is Mel Wakeman from Wakeman Nutrition. And what we're going to do today, oh, and I'm sure you'll have noticed that we've come with the most beautifulest of headgear, because today is the day that we need to wear our best and turn up as our best selves. So we're wearing our best headgear, finery.
Nice, isn't it? I'm celebrating. It's No Diet Day today, International No Diet Day. So, hence the pineapple, because we need to be our own selves.
Now that's excellent because I never diet.
I know.
I truly do not believe. I believe in having a diet, like a diet for your life, the way that you eat. But tell me to go on a blinking diet or do dieting. It's like, why would you do that? I mean, I have done it. You know, I can remember, oh, years ago, I can remember, I think it must have been, I can't remember how many years ago, going, is it Slimming World where you do like red and green days?
Yeah, I think that was like the old way. I was talking about that yesterday.
Right. So I used to go because the girls in work, you know, everyone's always on a diet. Everyone's always, and I've never been particularly large or anything, but everyone's on a diet, and you never want to miss out. So you think, oh, I'll come and do the diet thing with you. I remember we used to queue up outside of wherever it was, and we had this really neat trick. The way to lose weight was to drink massive amounts of water before you went to get weighed. And I have no idea why that worked. But I just remember that because I never paid any attention to what I was supposed to be doing. I just used to picture it with my little book, neck loads of water, stand on the scale and go, seems like I didn't do very well today. But it's just one of those things, isn't it, that people get kind of carried away with they're supposed to eat in a particular way.
Yeah,
And
it's,
sorry,
it's it's meant to be. It's meant to be easy, isn't it? Hey, you can look like this. You can feel like this, and all you need to do is this. Just follow the plan. Follow these easy steps and rules. You don't need to think about it. Dead easy, isn't it?
do you know what's worked for me is I think because I've had I don't know whether to call them illnesses or diseases because one of them sounds really horrid and the other one sounds like it's kind of minor. So for those that don't know me, I've had a number of I guess they're autoimmune things. So I had an overactive thyroid, my spine fractured, and I've currently got a blood condition. When I say currently, apparently it's never going to go because it's never going to go. But it's not bad. It's something that I'll die with rather than from. But having these things, I'm going to call them things, they don't sound so bad. Having these things makes me really, really conscious of what I eat.
Mm.
So when I first had the overactive thyroid, I kept a food. I wrote down what I ate. I wrote down what I ate. I wrote down how it made me feel. I wrote down my sleep because I very cockily said to the doctor, because he wanted to send me to the endocrinologist, and I said, no, we don't need to do that. I'll be back in 6 weeks and I'll be cured. And he just kind of looked at me as if to say, you know, you're completely crazy. But, you know, sure enough, I went back in 6 weeks. I didn't take him my food and mood diary. I took him a big sheet of brown paper, you know, like brown wrapping paper. I took him a big sheet of that, and I wrote down everything, and I laid it out on his desk, and I'd used all different colours. He just looked as if I was completely bonkers, and he went, "Okay." So you know, he was actually utterly delighted that I was slightly crazy, but I needed to write it down to get a picture because I see things in patterns and pictures. Then when the spine fractured, again, I came back and it's like, okay, how do we do this without drugs? Because of course, as soon as something happens, the doctors go, oh, we're going to give you some drugs and the drugs are going to make you better. But actually, you need to look at the root cause. So once again, I scribbled. I had all my nutrition books out. I, you know, researched. My head was, I think I must have studied to be a doctor. in the 12 months that I went through this big healing process. But I became so massively aware of how my body would react to different things and what I needed to eat. But if I hadn't have written it down, I would have never have known. And interestingly, right at the moment, I'm feeling really tired, really, really, really exhausted. Now, part of that is probably my 3 little darling fur babies have been barking in the night. So that's part of the reason. The other part of the reason is I've been working really hard, but I've actually noticed that. So, okay, I'm gonna make a confession. I've been pigging out on chocolate during the lockdown period. I normally don't have any sugar in my body at all. I don't eat any crap, but for whatever reason, I wanted this comfort, and so I just got a bar of chocolate and went. And actually, I ate quite a lot, and then I just woke up one day and said, in fact, I think we were talking last week. I woke up one day and I was saying to you last week, yeah, I can just give things up. And I thought, that's a bit of a bold statement, woman. But actually what happened is my body must have been listening, or perhaps you were sending something through the ether to me. But I've got, a massive bar of chocolate downstairs and I can't bear to eat it. And what I'm doing at the moment again is because I sporadically, when something comes up, I write stuff in my journal, in a specific kind of journal, because I want to know why. It's like, okay, so I know the dogs have kept me awake for 2 nights, but why am I so tired? Like, what else is going on? And I know that before we started this call, I went, Mel, I'm so tired. What can I do? And you said,
got to write about how you're feeling.
There you go.
This is where it's such a powerful tool to do sort of a food and mood diary, because this is about how you feel. I think it's much more important to be sort of inquiring about not just what you're eating, but why you're eating certain foods, why you're feeling certain ways. And it's completely sort of the flip side of what diets encourage you to do, which is don't think, just do this, do that. And we've over the years, gosh, I mean, the diet industry is massive. It's been building for decades. Because of that, we've become disconnected. There's this massive disconnect, not only between us and our body, but also us and food. So what that's led to is a level of distrust. We'll trust the rules, we'll trust what everybody else says we should do, but we don't trust us. And also, we've also lost the ability to listen to our body. And I had a conversation with a lady last night, and we talked about listening to our body. And she just said, I don't even know what you mean. I don't know what I'm listening out for. I don't know how to describe how I'm feeling, to articulate what it is I'm feeling within my body. And that's a sign that for whatever reason, we've been pushing that away because we don't know how to deal with it, or it's uncomfortable. We haven't got the tools to explore down those paths. Or it's a level whereby, yeah, but then I've got to admit that I feel shit. Then I've got to admit that I've been doing the wrong thing, and we have all that critical view about things. But it's a tool that's so underused, because the likes of MyFitnessPal came in, and it was like, hey, but you can log what you're eating, and you can check out all the calories and stuff, and you look at things at very much face value. There's no inquiry there about, okay, well, how does that make you feel? Why are you doing that? Why are you going for that food and not that food all the time? So for me, it's something as a nutrition practitioner professional, it's a tool that we always use. But people are like, no, I don't need to do that. I've got MyFitnessPal. I'll check in on it. Don't know what they're looking for. Don't know really what questions to ask. There's something about putting pen to paper, and you get this, Dale, in terms of the writing element. There's something about that transference of, hang on, let me think about this. Let me just write with pen and paper or coloured pens or whatever it is, and help, like you say, help yourself see that bigger picture. Find those clues in there and go, oh, that's when the light bulb moments happen.
You see, what's really interesting, I mean, I've journaled for years, and it's when I say I teach it, I like to think that I inspire people to put pen to paper, but to me, it's truly magical, because your I'm going to call it your divine inner wisdom. Your unconscious mind knows what it wants to tell you, and we all have different ways of connecting to it. So if I was writing a creative piece, I might call it musing. I might write a letter to spirit and say, please tell me what to do. Or I might just go scribble, scribble, scribble of any old thing, and then let the unconscious mind come to. There's all different ways of making that connection. You might be someone who wants to connect to your God. Well, you can write, dear God, and then what will happen, whatever you write, it's coming from within.
Yeah.
And you will be, I'm going to use the word gobsmacked. You will be gobsmacked at what comes out. Because I know when people first start to write, it's like, I can't do this. They think there's rules.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's no rules. You just pick up your pen and you write when you want, and you don't write if you don't want to. But the point is you write, because whatever needs to come out, it's like there's a little magic genie in there that goes, oh, she's picked up a pen. There's some of that paper stuff. And they kind of like sprinkle magic on it. It's you doing it, but if you just let go, do some deep breaths, connect to Mother Earth, just kind of let it all go. Trust.
But isn't that idea of letting go scary for some people?
Well, do you know it is. When I said the word trust, I remember a conversation, something you'd done about opening the fridge and closing the fridge. And it's like you're looking in the fridge going, fridge, help me save my life. What do I need? Where's the answer? The answer's in the fridge.
Yeah. But you see, you've taught me a lot around writing, but I am now a huge fan of prompts. As I know, you write a lot of prompts for your journals. And when I came from a place of academic writing, it was very structured. There were absolute rules about how you began and structured a piece of work. And I was like, I don't know, this isn't going to look right. This isn't going to be right. And I had all these sort of preconceived ideas about what journaling was or writing down was. And it's like, you're right. So I have to kind of doodle. I doodle and I colour in and do all sorts of other creative stuff, almost to build that it's okay, it's safe, before things will start to follow. So my mood and food journal, I think, thank you to you, have really developed, because now it is that sort of positive inquiry around, okay, how are you feeling? It's like, okay, that's a big question. Where are you feeling it? What are the physical sensations? What is your body trying to tell you here? And even to be able to describe the physical sensations in your body, not just sort of articulate the thoughts, it's really, really powerful.
It is. It's interesting because you can make it. We forget when we do, like, you're a nutritionist. For you, it's like, it's easy. This stuff, this stuff, all of that, all of those things that I had to go and look in books for. You're the encyclopedia. But it's like with the writing stuff down, if you actually got yourself, a food and mood journal and kept it in your kitchen, and you don't have to write, I had a salad and it had cucumber and carrots and you just write, you've had a salad, and if you don't have to write the quantity, you don't have to weigh anything. If you just write generically, if you notice a couple of hours later your stomach is out there's something in that thing that you've eaten that's caused a reaction. Or if you find that you're coming downstairs at whatever time in the morning because you need to eat a bowl of cornflakes, then that's telling you something. Maybe your blood sugar is a little bit out, or maybe you're just like eating cornflakes at 3:00 in the morning. But if you do you? Yeah. An ex-partner of mine had a friend who used to get up I'm sure it was about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and he had a bowl of cornflakes every single day. And I think for him it was a habit. He just woke up, came downstairs, ate his cornflakes, and went back to bed. And I used to think, what a bizarre thing to do. But of course, if it's a new thing for you, but if you write it in your journal, because that's mine that I made for me when I was going through the fractured spine period. That was by my kettle all the time. I wrote down my sleep. I mean, I tried the apps. There was a nutrition app. Oh my God, that was boring. I'd be there going, and it wants to know the weight, like how many slices of cucumber did I? And I'm thinking, well, you haven't asked me how big the slices are.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I'm being silly.
No, you're not.
Oh my God, it was
That's the level.
what was interesting for me using an app is it actually told me that I wasn't getting enough vitamin B12, but I knew that anyway because I wasn't eating any meat, and I didn't like those yeasty flake things. But actually physically doing it, I recorded my food generically, my mood, what happened to my body. I had some other stuff going on, and what I started to notice was when I ate my beloved dark chocolate, I itched like mad, and I didn't connect the two until I looked in what I'd written down, and it's like, this is not fair. And then, of course, when I looked at the research, because I'd had shingles, and I'm left with something. It sounds horrible, doesn't it? It's all right. It's an itchy thing called post-herpetic neuralgia. You really needed to know that. But if I eat foods that are high in arginine, which my beloved chocolate is, I itch. But I wouldn't have connected the two had it not been for having a diary.
Yeah.
And it's just...
there are lots more apps out there now that sort of, will kind of help you draw some of these things together. But I haven't found, maybe I should make one. I haven't found one yet that really covers the breadth of things that we might be interested in, because of course it's so personal. So like you say, in terms of your sleep, logging your sleep is really important. So if you're experiencing, if you've got underlying chronic conditions around pain or fatigue, or you're interested in how your monthly cycle influences your appetite, and your energy levels, for example. Actually, I'm a big fan of looking at hunger cues and looking at, how hungry. What's hungry?
New word. It's a new word. You've invented it. Hungry.
How hungry?
You started me off now. Stop it. Oh, Melly Melster. I love it. I love it when funny words come out.
How hungry we might be. That might change over the days or over the weeks, and our body is never static. No. So it changes. So to do a mood and food diary, which might be helping you find the connections between physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, what you're eating, it's amazing to look at the trends over time. So in terms of looking at how you might react to foods, you might well get a reaction, within half an hour of eating something. Sometimes it's instantaneous.
I get that.
But also it might stem back to 3 days ago. So particularly if you've got food intolerances, there's generally a 72-hour window. Now, I can't remember what I ate yesterday. So to have something that's documented, and you can make it look all pretty, you can sort of put you into it, which gives you a real sort of motivation to keep looking and exploring. To look back over a couple of weeks actually is so telling.
It is. I mean, when I'm helping people to write books, for example, or getting people to find ideas for writing, like writing their memoir and stuff, out comes the roll of brown paper, and sorry,
I'm just thinking about hungry again. Sorry.
You've got to stop this. We're trying to be serious, folks. So I get out my roll of brown paper and we map it on a timeline. I'm not going to laugh, right? Map it on a timeline. But all we need now is the dogs to come in, and then it's completely ruined.
Okay, I'm calm. Brown paper.
Stick your fingernails in your thingy. In your hand. That'll do something. That reminds me of a story that I may or may not tell you. So brown paper, but coloured pens. So it's a bit. What we're looking for is patterns and pictures. So if people are writing in their journals, colour. When you're reading it later, and perhaps you're using a black or blue pen, come back with like coloured highlighters or stickers and things. And then you'll see the patterns, because we see things in patterns and pictures.
I have a whole bag of coloured pens, highlighters, you name it. It's like, I love doing that. It makes it special.
So I have a set of 4 drawers here.
You've got more than me, haven't you?
Well, they're full of coloured pens. I've got a pencil case out there, and then I've got this amazing thing I think I bought on Amazon that's like a box like this, and you open it out, and it's all coloured pens. And under my stairs, I've got masses and masses of paints and paper and things, and I just love messing about with stuff because you see everything in patterns and pictures. Actually, that reminds me of you, because and I do colour in mandalas.
Yeah.
Now, what is fascinating about that? So let's say you wanted to reflect on your food or any journaling. If you coloured in a mandala, if you ask a question, ask it of God, of spirit, of your muse, of your inner wisdom, whoever, or just yourself. If you ask a question and then sit and colour, so let's say it's to do with what you've been eating, what's going to be really fascinating is, what are the colours you've chosen? How did you approach colouring in the mandala, outside in? Did you do it in section? There is something, I don't know the science behind it. All I know is it's immensely powerful. But when you look at the colours, and when you look at how do you feel while you were doing it and when you've done it, and then when you go and look at what you journaled, the two things make some kind of magical connection. And I don't know how all that works. All I know is your unconscious mind is going, oh, I'm going to unlock this little gate and I'm going to go and find that bit of information. But it's the colouring in is so relaxing. You know, it's a really mindful, or, you know, your mind is less full activity, that it really allows you then, when you come to look at your food journal, you're going to be in a really relaxed state. You're not going to go, oh my God, I've been eating whatever rubbish it is. You know, you'll look at it in a much calmer way. So if you did you've got your daily review, but if you did a weekly review where you actually said, do you know what, I'm going to make this as a bit of a ceremony. I don't actually always have cake afterwards, healthy cake. It's always healthy. Cake is healthy. But I would make it some kind of ceremony, you know, some kind of delicious tea, colour in, because I like that. See, I like stuff like that. It's like when we get to say the full moon or the new moon, I want to make a ritual. I want to say, I want lights, and I want to, sage, smudge the house with white sage. I want to write, I want to do things that bring ceremony into whatever's on my mind. If there's stuff on my mind, I want a way of being able to approach it in a different way, and also being able to let it go.
It's the idea of a brain dump, isn't it? But even the word dump, it's quite like,
yeah.
It's not exactly enticing, is it? So yeah, the idea of just approaching it more gently, sort of coaxing your body to let this stuff come out.
I love a good dump, a brain dump. Because on a Sunday night,
you know where this is going, don't you?
Well, no, actually, that's the other thing one can record in one's journal.
Yeah, I was just thinking that myself. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it sounds like a horrid thing to do, but imagine, like, if you're someone who's not regular, and we can talk about this another time, but imagine if you're someone who's not regular, you're keeping your food and your mood diary, but you're not connecting what you're not letting go of. Because, if you're constipated, it is about the food, but also there's this emotional thing that says, I'm holding on to something, just like as if you had diarrhea. What is it? What is it you need to let go of? What is that violence that is happening? But if you're holding on to something, is there a connection? One of the things, you want to be thinking about is how much, I was going to say alcohol. We don't want to drink alcohol. Water you're drinking. So there's go on, what are you going to say?
I had alcohol last night. It's fine.
Lots of questions, again, because we're in this lockdown period, lots of people saying, are you drinking more alcohol? Now, I very, very, very rarely drink. I have a wine rack full of delicious wines, and I don't want to drink them because I very rarely drink. But I've been there's these little bottles of cider you can get called Ladron de Manzana, and Ladron is a robber. and manzana is apple. So I don't know why, I don't know what the robber of apples is, but they're teeny little bottles like this. And every couple of days I think, ooh, and I've been having, so the answer yes is I've been drinking more alcohol, but it's like, it's virtually nothing. So now I've taken us completely off track.
Let's do poo talk another time. Let's do
yeah, and letting go. Let's do that next week. Let's do letting go and poo talk next week. So that's a perfect ending.
It is
a perfect ending. So Mel, do you have something that people can find on your website in terms of understanding more about the emotional stuff, and do you have a food and mood journal for people to buy off you or download?
I do. Ooh. Funny you should say that. I've just got to change the pop-up on my website, but yeah, I've got lots of free resources on there, but there is, and there will be returning a little sort of how to sort of let go of food worry. I do have a mood and food journal on there, but generally just sort of following me around sort of social media as well will give you some insight into what it means to be more connected to your body. But yeah, on Wakeful Nutrition, there'll be some resources.
Fantastic. So what I'll do is I'll add all the resources where people can find both of us. And what I will say to anyone who's looking at food and emotional eating, I'm still going to point this way, whether you can see whichever way it is on my screen or that way. You are really, really funny, but you are so, you really engage people in and help them. I see you opening up people's eyes to how they feel, and the fact is they don't have to be on a diet to actually get that really, really good health. So I'll post all those resources. So to find me, I'm daledarley.com, and you will find massive stuff about journaling on my website. I have a journaling club. So every month there's a journal and a little mini course. I think I'm on month 3, and it's about a gratitude practice. And we can talk about gratitude and food another time. So you can find both of us, and whichever one of us, crazy chicks resonates with you. We truly hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you soon.
See you next time. Bye.